Welcome to CD creation using SketchUp and Layout. The bottom of this video and the more information you'll find chapter marks so you can navigate through the video more easily, along with a resources folder to my Google Drive that contains all of the resource files for this project so you can follow along if you choose to. The first thing I want to do is make sure that I have a parent folder created for the project. I'm calling the CDs the SketchUp and Layout. Within the parent folder I have 4 additional folders, the first one being completed documents, which will be the PDFs or JPEGs that I export from Layout. Detailed base sheets, which are the details that we will be creating, just the JPEGs of those in there. Layout, my layout document, and then SketchUp will have 3 subfolders: components, models, and textures. I've gone through and just found all the textures that I'm going to use for the project to help keep this consistent, and we'll also be creating a template through this process so that future construction documents will be more easily made. I also have the models, which I'll save, and components. I've created a permeable paver, which was part of one of the details already. I've grabbed a 3D tree and also created a tree grate, or found a tree grate through 3D Warehouse and just made some modifications that I will also use for one of the details. So I've kind of prepped this thing but before I begin. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go into, and actually I'll cancel SketchUp here, and bear with me, I'm running 2014 and 2015 right now, so actually let me go through Spotlight and look up SketchUp. Oops, not that one. You can use 2015 if you like. The reason why I'm not using 2015 and I'm opting to cancel this is because right now for my 3D connections on wireless 3D mouse, 2015 is not working. So I'm going to go with what works for me and SketchUp, and I'm going to go to 2014. And again, just so we're all on the same page, I'm going to start with one of the standard templates. I'll come up. I'll just select the template, and I'm going to go to architectural feet and inches. Alright, this first thing I want to do is create some styles after I get rid of all this extraneous plugin information. Okay. Alright, so I have some dialog boxes here. The first thing I want to do is manipulate my styles. So let me actually minimize that. I'm going to edit this, and I'm just going to call this working. And what we're going to do is just do simple edges, shaded, no textures, and I want to make this thing transparent too. So I'm going to make that happen. I'm just going to turn off my profiles, my extensions, and endpoints. My edges are on. I also want to make my front color, I'm going to make that something different. I'm going to make that like a blue. And then I'm going to make this back color, let's say like a green. Okay. And I want to be here. I want to enable transparency. I want to see the model axis and all that. That's fine. And I'll go ahead and then update that. I'll go to select, and I'm just going to right click and say make a copy, and we'll call this one presentation color. And what that's going to be is profile 3. It's going to have some edges to it. I'm also going to go ahead and do shadow. Well, maybe not shadow for this one. Profile, edges. We also want to have, it's going to be shaded with textures, basically. Shaded textures and no axis. Okay, so let's make that happen. So I'm going to go here. I want profile. I'm going to set that to 3. going to be shaded with textures this time. And I don't want to see a model axis in this. And that should do it for us. All right. So I'm gonna go back here, and if you notice, if I go back between these two, information changes. I also want to edit this. I'm gonna get rid of that the gray background. So this background, I actually just want to make white. I prefer it to be white. And again, you can set these things on how you like them. I also don't need a sky. That's fine for me. And I'll actually go back here as well and do the same thing. I don't need a sky, and the background can be white. Okay, and update that. Now I'll go back to select, and I'll do one more. I'll just make a copy, and I'll call this black lines, and we'll just do still the profile 3. I want edges, and then it's just going to be white. And I'm going to edit that and go here, make her white, that. And this option is display in hidden line mode. And the profile should be, I'm actually going to see profiles there, so, and I'm going to make that 3. And I don't want to see model axis for this one either. And that should be good. I'm just going to update that. Do chain. Yeah, update that. Back to select. So now I can toggle between these modes now, and that's going to be there for me. Now what I want to do is create scenes with this. So presentation mode, I'm going to go ahead and go to my scenes tab and create a scene, and click on the plus so that I can edit it. And I'm going to call this one, since I'm on presentation, I'm going to put a prefix of 00 in front of it and call it presentation. And it's good how it is. And I'm going to update that, and then it should appear here. Great. I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to go to working, and I'm also going to put my transparency on for working as well. And I'm just going to call this 00 working, and just update that. Okay, and I'll go to another scene just so that we can see it if we would like to. Update working too. Let me go to black and white line work, and I'm just going to call this one 00, just black and white line drawing. And everything looks like it should be what it is. I'm just update that. Great. So now I can toggle between these easily without even going through my dialogues and navigate into these modes. That's really helpful. And okay, so good. And I'm just gonna arrange these just because I'm being anal retentive. So working, my black and white, and then my presentation finally. We'll also create scenes too this time that we actually want to see to make it easier to present them in layout too, but it's still a good way of having these things to quickly navigate. Now what I want to do is I'm going to hit B for my materials, and she was great, but we no longer need her. So I'm going to go ahead and delete her, and I am going to then load some materials. So I'm going to go new texture. Now I believe you can map to your texture folder in PC, so it makes this a lot easier, and you can just do a Google search for a tutorial for that. I'm going to have to load these independently, so I'm going to kind of begin to load them. And it shouldn't be that bad. I'll just grab a few that I need. But the idea is that you can kind of have this and then create a template for it is what we're trying to do. I'll go to the burlap. Alright. And the new texture. I want that concrete definitely. And I'm going to load one of my earth textures. And unfortunately I can't do this with multiple pieces. But again, on PC, I believe you can just instantly map this. Filter fabric, I guess, would be good to have. Okay, and new texture, grass. All right. New texture. I'm gonna do my planting soil. All right, new texture. All right, and you see that, and if I go to my materials, we'll see that we have our textures here, so everything's as it should be, so great. So now we're gonna start. I'm gonna go into my layers, minimize my scenes and pop that up to that, and create a new layer. I'm gonna call it image, and put myself in it. I'm gonna go to working, and I'm gonna go to plan view. And my camera, I want to put it in parallel projection. And I'm going to go file, and I'm going to update that style to just my working. I'm going to go ahead and update that and save those changes. So when I click on it again, it'll be there. I'm going to go to file, and I'm going to go to import. And I'm going to go to this tree in the permeable paver. And we'll just grab an insertion point and kind of pull it out. And we're going to scale it. Hit T for tape measure, and this looks like it's 12 inches, so we'll go here and say that's 12. I want to resize, yes. All right. So what I'm going to do is find the halfway point between this. I'm going to go to layer 0 now, and actually I'm going to click on this and explode it, and double click, make a group, and then lock it. So I'm going to go, oh, I made a group in the wrong one. Let me actually put all this on image. Okay, cool. And then on image, I'll make a group. It already is. And then lock. Okay. Now let me go back here. So I'm just going to focus on doing half of this, and then we'll just effectively mirror it because it's symmetrical. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm going to find a midpoint. And that midpoint's going to sit in between these concrete collars that act as an edge for the paver and a lip for the tree grate to sit on. So I'm going to go from kind of point to point. And this is going to be my midpoint. So I'm just going to kind of snap this up. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool now and just begin to kind of trace this thing out to a point. Okay, we'll come up there, we'll say. And looks like we have the collar kind of right here. Oops, I'm gonna lock that inference. Come up there and before this gets too detailed, what I'm gonna do too is just go ahead and bring in a paver and my tree grate, so I can set the sizes of these to correlate with them. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and bring in my paver. So I'm going to go Control O, and again I'm going to navigate to my core folder, my parent folder, go into SketchUp, and then go into the components that I saved out. And I want to right now use the Permeable paver, so I'm just going to open that, and it should be on Permeable paver, so that's good. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'll close it. I don't need that now, and I'll just do a Control V. And I'll bring this over here and drop it in. Now you'll notice that it is in the wrong orientation, at least to correlate with the drawing. So I'm just going to kind of tilt it on its side. I'm going to take off my transparency for a second too. And I want to grab my rotate tool and kind of on the face, and I just want to bring that thing up like that till it snaps. Go back here to my plan view, put it back on my transparency, and I'm just going to kind of bring this thing over, I guess here to that, and then I'll just bring this down using my points to kind of snap to. And then I know we have a 3/8 of an inch gap, so I'm just going to kind of come over in this direction and 3/8 of an inch. Okay, cool. And actually this thing would be here, then we'll come over here, then we'll come over 3/8 of an inch. So it's, whoops, so it's flush. Alright, there we go. And actually what I'm going to do is go ahead and just copy that. So I'll do one here and just move it over 3/8 of an inch. And I'll just copy that. And let's say we'll do it 5 times. Okay. And I'll kill that and just kill that last brick there. So now we have our pavers located, and that's cool. And you can see that this bedding course layer is going to be right below that. So I'm going to use this line as a reference. Kind of come straight across. We'll just leave that together. And there's also a geotextile fabric. That's what this dash is representing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in as well. I'm going to click my lines. And actually this one goes away now. But I'm going to click my lines that I have and just kind of bring them down. And not, you don't want to make it too big. Maybe we did 3/16 of an inch. Okay, that's fine. Just so we can see it, so it's visible. And I'm going to keep that going. I'm going to say that that kind of wraps on this side. We're going to wrap it the whole way. Sometimes the offset will work for here too. Okay, so we'll use the move tool. It's fine. I'll come up here and just copy this over. And we said 3/16. Alright, and just delete that edge there. And however you want to do this, just doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to use my trace. So I'm just going to kind of trace these pieces out too. So this is going to come kind of here. I'm going to use my and it looks like And it's both ways, really just kind of comes across and wraps this as well. So I'm going to keep it coming across, actually. And then we'll come up here with this. And I want to kind of strike that. Alright, and we'll say that the geotextile fabric is on the exterior of this because it's going to wrap over here too. And before I do that, kind of get those baselines, and we will use those. But let's go ahead and bring in the tree grade as well, so we can make sure that that concrete collar is going to be the right size. So I'm going to double click on my tree grade. And what I want to do is I'm going to minimize this. I should have done this first, but I'm going to measure because we want to scale that to make sure it's perfect. So it's going to be to the midpoint of the tree grade, and so I'm going to measure from this point to this point, and I'm getting 1 foot 11 and 13/16. So 11 and 13/16. 11 and 13/16. So I'm going to go back to this. 11 and 13/16. So I'm just going to make this a group. 11 and 13/16. So I'm going to make a group. T. 1 foot 11 and 13/16 of an inch. Resize. Yeah. So now that should fit in perfectly when I bring it in. So I'm going to grab that. Delete that. Don't worry about saving it. I'm just going to do a Control V. And I'm going to place this thing here. Alright, so it should be dead center with that. And it is. Good. Now, I know there's a depth to this. And I guess we'll just adjust that to that when we get to that point. So that's fine. I guess we'll leave that alone. Okay. So let me delete this line out of here. Kind of building this thing piece by piece. And again, I can rotate this just to kind of see that though too. We might as well. Alright. So I'll grab this and kind of want to come to the side. And use my rotate tool. It's kind of there to there, and just want to bring that down. Kind of come in, and now we will place this thing. And you see that it's a little big, and I have it at 2 inches, which I think is kind of appropriate. So I'm actually going to adjust this. Just measure the distance I'm off, 13/16. So I'll just move this down 13/16. And still in 0, drawing another line in and just deleting that preview. I'm just going to bring that up. Deleting this previous one and casting this line straight across. Alright. And now when I move this thing in, it should fit right in. Okay. And that's what we want. So that works. So that's profiles clean now. The course is here. This is going to be in the exterior, so it's telling me wash aggregate, but it's not giving me a dimensioned size, so we're gonna just trace that out and use the graphic as my reference for scale. So let me turn off the tree grade actually now and go to this line, and I'm just gonna trace out this root ball. existing soil. How about we do that? I'll go to it and make it a group. Alright. Group. Looks like all this is kind of coming together. So we should have all these things up. So one more. And that's going to be my, we'll say it's a small aggregate. And I'll go to it and make it a group. And for instance, if I'm going to use a different nomenclature, so say I wanted soils, all my soils are going to be 2s. So I'm going to have 2s there now, and then maybe the planting soil is a 2 as well. So we can begin to see them together, and it just begins to group them, so it just makes it easier to do that. Added existing soil. So that one doesn't, okay. So it looks good. Tree grade structural soil, so maybe that's a 2 as well. Permeable paver. And the tree grade, maybe that's a 3. Again, just demonstrating how you can do this. And maybe my tree grade's a 3. Alright. To help me see this thing is a little bit easier. Control save. Concrete color, geotextile, fabric, rebar, okay. Root ball. Okay, so that's that. All these are split apart. That's nice. These are separate pieces. My tree grade is in where it's supposed to be. I'm going to delete that line now too, and I'm going to delete this line too. I don't need that. Now what I want to do, the tree grade should be off. Excuse me. And also, well, what we're going to do is make this root ball. So I'm actually going to go to that root ball layer. So I'm going to go to my root ball. And I am going to double click in that and hit C for circle. And I'm going to tilt this thing a little bit so I can get this angle. Come to this edge. It needs to be that center point though. It's very important it's there. And I'm going to do that. And what I'm going to do is kind of navigate around and double click this and just move it a little bit down. I don't want it touching, but I want it to be the perfect central point for it. It doesn't matter. And I'm just going to tilt this thing a little bit so you can see it better and I can see it. My face is selected, and what I want to do is say tools and then follow me, and I'll click this and it should sweep and create that base. So I'm going to come in here and just delete that for now and come back to my plan view. And I want to click on that, and I have my soft and smooth edges. You can find that under Windows. And I just want to soften that so it clears those edges up. Just want it to be a nice smooth shape. Alright, so it gives us a nice root ball. That. And also, I think I'm going to wrap. No, that's going to be straight, and that's going to be straight. So, okay, all we're going to do is do the follow me on the root ball. And once you have that root ball created, then I'm going to put myself back on layer 0 and just turn that root ball off. And now what we want to do is make this into a component. Oh, we forgot a couple of things. I did. This is going to be, let's call this 0, 1, I guess, for now. This is going to be the perforated pipe. And the same thing, put myself in that layer, group. And I'm going to go ahead and add a color to this. It'll be the first thing I add a color to, just so I can remember it's actually there. And go ahead and paint that. Alright. Okay, so we see this. I'm going to save that. That's a component. That's, oh, that's a face, that's a face, that's a face. So this is not, and this is going to be a we'll do large aggregate. Alright, and I'll put myself on that layer and then just group that as well. Well, it's weird it's doing that. Let's do this in a different order. Sometimes it gets fussy like that. So I'm just control Zing back until the color and before I made it a block, basically. Well, how about this? Just explode it. I'm gonna double click on this so it has that lip, that edge. And I'm gonna call that 0, 1 if it's not still there. We had small aggregate, I'm gonna do a large aggregate. Aggregate. Put myself on that and make it a group. Okay. And now I'll double click in here and I'll call this 0, 1 and I'll call that, oh, we already had the perforated pipe. So I'll go to perforated pipe. Oh. Double click in here, navigate to perforated pipe. I'll put myself on that and then make that a group as well. Okay, so now it's clean that way. Everything is as it should be. So what I want to do now is make this a component. So I'm going to click that and right click and make a component. I'm just going to replace that, so great. All right, so what I want to do is then just copy this thing over. And you copy it over, and then I'm going to do the control 9 for me, it's my shortcut. So let's pull it over to mirror it, and it doesn't look mirrored, does it? It's off. Look at that. Yeah, it's off. Gosh. Sometimes this can be tricky. Alright, that looks good to me. And I'm going to grab that point there and just kind of shouldn't be the exact measurement. I'm just going to measure to make sure they're right. So this is 4.95/16. 4.9. Okay, so that's right. So it's mirrored, so it's perfect. That's what we want. So now when I put my tree grade on, it should line right up. Okay, and that's what we wanted to happen. And we're going to go ahead and also put in an existing curb. So that's going to be a separate piece in this. Go back up here though, and I just want to trace this shape. And that geotextile is really running. We're just going to allow it to run that side and say it's running along that course. And I'll just trace this one because it's going to be flush with that. So that's right about there. And maybe it does get a little bit deeper there. Go there and just delete that. Okay, and then I'll just trim that edge and trim that edge. Okay. And I guess just to keep it matched, we'll just be clean with it and I'll just mirror it. And I'll just copy this over and pull that straight through. Hopefully it'll give me less heartache than the other one did. Bring that over. Okay, we'll get those together and I'll just explode those. They'll be one piece. And I'll delete that. So now we have something that's matched. Double click on that again, and we're going to call this the 0.1 existing curb, concrete curb. I'm going to go to that and then make that a group as well. And this, I'm thinking, is just going to basically come straight over. Okay. I wanted to having to do another stone, but we'll do that in a little bit. Also, I'm realizing that I'm also missing that that bedding layer, so I'm gonna go back in here, and I'm gonna actually explode that structural soil, and I'm gonna grab one of its lines, two of those lines, and come down 2 inches, because I know that structural soil that's what that is. So this should all be structural soil. That's fine. I'm gonna double click that, and I'm gonna call that calling it bedding stone, and aggregate, we'll call that bedding stone, or stone dust, really the same thing, to my knowledge at least. And then put that as a group, and then double click in this and put that on structural soil, and then go to my structural soil, and then just make that a group. Okay, so now that's much better. That's clean. That's what it should look like. And because it's a component, I made a change here, it made a change there for me, so that's nice as well. So now we can begin to add textures to these things. So I'm going to go in, and I know that in this, I think that's structural soil. I've named these, I believe, already, most of them. So that's structural soil. So I'll put that in. This is going to be a larger aggregate here. Took back my color, so I'm going to go ahead and paint that orange again too, for that guy. There you go. And back to this, and I'll just I'm going to edit and rename this. So edit, and I'm going to call this perforated pipe, and close that out. I'm going to go to my filter fabric here and paint that color. No, I'm going to make it darker, but we'll make some adjustments here after I have a person in for scaling. This is just going to be earth. I'm going to use this red clay for that. This is going to be potting soil, so I'll do that for that. This is going to be concrete. And for my rebar, what am I going to use for that? Calling it dark gray. Alright. And I'm going to rename that. Go edit actually, and we'll edit this one down. It's 8 inches. And then I'm going to call this rebar. Alright, and I'm going to keep on going. Oops. Control Z that. And I want to use a stone dust is around here somewhere. Alright, so that's going to be my stone dust. And I know that that's going to get edited. We'll just make that darker for now. I go to my colors and make that a lot darker. Or actually, you can even go here and select the overlay. So I'm gonna kind of grab a dark overlay for that for me. And again, we'll adjust the texture sizes when we have somebody in the scale. It just makes it a lot easier. Permeable paver, for some reason those didn't get it, so I'm gonna double click on that and just paint that. Already paint them all singularly. It's kind of weird, but make one change one side, so it's at least allowing us to do that. I'm gonna double click in here, back, and grab this aggregate too. Alright, and I think that is it for that. Okay. And then my root ball, let me just bring that back in there. And then my root ball, I'm just going to wrap with burlap. Just because what does a root ball look like? It's going to be soil with roots and I want to model that. I'm trying to find a hatch for that, so that's what I'm going with. So there goes my root ball, and I'm going to save that. Another thing I'm noticing, I don't have any joints in here. So let me begin to kind of extrude some of these things first, and then we'll kind of maybe come back and do that last, because we'll need to copy these bricks over to create a grid, and we'll do that. Let me come over here too, and just, this guy's going to be concrete. Okay. And let's go over here and I guess try to fix this as well. So this is going to come over from there and put that like that. And it looks as if we have a line right there. And so what I'm going to do is put myself on my permeable paver layer. It looks like it's coming up and chopping it right there. And I'm just gonna and I'm gonna make this one unique because these are actually this is a component. So I'm gonna make it. Or maybe it's not. Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I'm gonna double click in it in V, so it becomes a separate face. I'm just gonna kind of pan over and just continue to draw that line, because we're going to end up just slicing this thing. So now you can kind of see we're making these faces. There we go. Come up some. And what I want to do is begin to just kind of delete that face on this side. Delete that top line. You can see this thing going away. Okay. I do want to have a line that kind of cuts across though. Let me just lock that in from this point. And that'll come up there. There goes another face, and I'll just delete that. Delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that. That and that. So now we kind of have that going on. And it should be a face. Okay, so I'm just going to squeeze that over too, and I'm going to do it, what did I say, 3/8. Okay, and that's going to be our brick there. I'm going to go back to plan view so we can kind of see. That's going to represent that cut for me, and I'll fill all these joints there as well. Alright, so that's cool. So we have that. I'm going to save. And now let's begin to extrude some of these pieces. I'm going to turn off that image too. I don't need that. Oh, I had that go on MM. I don't know. That's supposed to be concrete though. Concrete curb, and then maybe MM goes away. Okay. Working clean, saving. No grass in this one. Okay. Could have extended the soil layer over, but it's not a big deal for this. And what we can do is we'll have to go in and shorten this to this joint level, but I can just extrude the earth and pull it out, so maybe we'll do that. We'll just shorten this a little bit. X that. Go into this, and that is the Control Shift V, and just delete this bottom piece, just so it aligns with what we have, and make sure everything's on the right layer. Again, concrete curb. Okay, so when I pop this out, I'll pull it out so we can actually extrude that face at least below the existing curb. All right, so now let's start extruding these things. So I'm going to turn off my my image for now. I don't need to see that. And I got some indicators here, so that'll help. And actually what I want to do, let me turn back on that image. I'm going to rotate this thing to make it easier to work with now. And Extrude Faces. I'm going to unlock it. Sort of rotate with everything I have. And we're going to rotate this thing. Everything should be on. I'm going to my rotate tool. that, and I'm just gonna rotate this thing up. Okay. Good. So now I can more easily manipulate this thing, and it makes sense to drive. Okay. Now what I want to do is go back to plan view here, and I'm gonna take it off transparency for a moment, and I'm gonna put myself on layer 0 for this, and I'm just gonna kind of find a midpoint here. I'm gonna grab this and grab it by this midpoint, and I'm just gonna kind of center this, and I want to put it dead center there. Okay. All right. And when I have that, kind of come up and lock the inference there and just bring it down. Lock the inference again, just bring it down until it kind of touches that. All right. So now we have this thing dead center, so that makes more sense. And now what I want to do, I'm going to turn off that image. I don't need to see that. I am just going to extrude this, double click in this face until it touches those corners. I'm going to do that both ways. Okay, this is how it would be if it was built. And again, what happens on one side happens on both sides. I'm going to double click in here and just soften those edges. Don't need to see that extra line that was there. All right. And I also have this piece of rebar that's kind of sitting in here too. Somewhere. Oh, it's see-through. Okay. So what I want to do for that is the same thing. Oh, it's not allowed. Where's that rebar face at? Let's actually look at this thing from a escape. Alright, straight on view. And there's the rebar. Alright, so there goes my rebar, and what I want to do is extrude that as well. And let me spin around this thing. Where am I? Kind of click on it and bring this face out here. And maybe we can extend it a little bit more just to show kind of what's happening. And I guess you could have done this first, but okay, I forgot. So there goes our rebar, and I'm just gonna save that. I'm gonna delete that extra line that we had there too. That's all looking clean. Let me just continue. So double click in here, and double click here, and extrude that out to there. Don't need that line. Extrude this out here. Alright. So now we have that piece, and I'm going to continue and extrude this out here. Looks like you give me an extra line, don't need that. And this face gets extruded out here. Okay, that's looking good. And now I need that fabric that's going to kind of wrap this too. I'm also going to click on this and just soften the edges too. I just like keeping all that clean. And again, we need to do that sweep is here as well. Same thing. So I'm going to double click here. Wrong one. Double click here. And just extend this out. Maybe we won't extend it out the entire way. We'll just show some of that right there like that. What else? Oh, the other side needs to happen that way as well. So I'll grab this fabric and just kind of bring it out. And maybe we'll bring it to this side. Okay. And it's giving me an extra line in there, and I don't need that. That's weird. Okay. And it's giving me those extra lines. I don't need that. And I will bring this one in a little bit too. I like to see that exposed. Okay, so we have that. We see the filter fabric. And the cool part about it is we can actually see what's going on here, which is cool for me at least. And soften that as it goes around. Okay. Alright, so this thing's starting to come together now for us. Yes. Alright, so I'll go ahead and extrude these corrugated pipes now first this time. We'll just extrude that out. Maybe these things go. Whoops. Grab the face. On the other side, same thing. I'll grab that face. And pull that out as well. Alright. And now I'll also go in and extrude these. And maybe I'll just pull that to that. But really it needs to wrap these pieces, so we'll keep on going. Well, we won't because it looks kind of weird. Alright, that, and then click here, pull this out. There. Alright, so now we have the aggregate in the pipe, so maybe that pipe is getting a little crazy. But now we'll pull out the other pieces. So this is in here. I'm going to pull this out. Like that. My filter fabric's there. I stepped it back some, that's cool. I'm just going to pull this out to here. And the last one is going to be kind of this earth layer. And for now, I'll just pull it out to here, and then the same side in the back. Pull it out to there, and then I need to grab here as well. And pull this out as well. And pull this one out as well. Okay, and then I'm going to save that definitely. It's almost done. Kind of spin this around, kind of seeing what we have now. I could bring this curve out as well. Kind of on both sides. Oops. Alright. That's running there like that. So now we have that. Cool. And save that. But I'm going to go back to plan view and I'm going to copy these over now too. Oh, it's fine on that side. We'll just pretend there's a curve on this side as well. And all I'm going to do is basically copy these over, connect to that point. When I'm there, kind of come down again, and it was that 3/8, I believe. And then I'll just copy these again from this point. And maybe, what, 4 times? That was too many. Okay. Oh no, maybe not. That's good. Okay. That's what we want. Back to plan view. And then I'll just do the same thing for this other side. Click the ones that I want. I'm going to grab here and say it's right there. And then maybe say it's 3 times. Cool. So we have the kind of our paver rows going there, and it should be done the same side. Same thing, cool, that's what we want, save that. And go back to plan view, and what we want to do is also put in we need to have a small aggregate here fill in between these joints. So to do that, I am going to use the rectangle tool, create this joint here, and just come straight down really. And I'm going to end it right here, create a face. I'm going to double click, I'm on layer 0, and I'm going to put that on the small aggregate. And put myself on small aggregate and make that into a group. Grab my brush. Oh, okay, and I'm going to sample this color, or sample that texture, and just drop that in as well. All right. Now what I want to do is then see where it's sitting above. That's cool. I just want to double click it and grab that face, and I'm going to bring that face straight down. So where it should be hitting that, like that. Okay, and there we go. So I have one, and I just need to copy it over now. So I'll just do that. I'll copy, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and we'll leave that last one off. Okay, that's good. So now we have those joints going straight across. I'm going to repeat the same process going the other direction. So I have it that way. Now I need to go this way. So I'm on small aggregates. So I'm just going to keep myself on that layer. And oh. All right, and then group that, and the same thing. I'll just go ahead and splash that texture onto it. It's kind of here. I'm going to pull the face down to that, and I'm going to pull this one forward and pull it back to at least this joint. Well, we won't even do that, that's fine. Oh, it's not fine, actually. I want to have that right there, like that. And actually, this needs to come down some. So that will all just kind of come down to that level there. Okay, that looks better. And then back to plan, and I'm just going to copy that thing over. And let me grab one more of these rows and just bring that over as well, though. And that would be there. This is that, and I'm going to copy these as well. So there, and then maybe 10 times, I don't know. So I got some extra ones, that's okay. I'm just going to kill that, and kill that, and kill that. Okay, then save. And when I tilt that, that should all give me my joints that I need. Cool. And if you want it as well, you can always come in here and just pull these forward too. Might have been a better idea to make these components so when I stretch one, stretch them all, but not a big deal. There, and we're almost done with this thing now. There, we'll go here and pull this out. Same thing on this side. Here, pull this out. Here, pull this out. Oh, pull it out. Okay, there we go. So now we have this thing kind of built, and we're missing a tree, and I need to still adjust some of my scales for this too. So what I want to do is bring in a person to help me scale everything. So I'm going to go into Windows and go into Components. And just a 2D person. And better yet, how about we do a silhouette. It's kind of find a silhouette that you like. There's a specific one I want to go for. I want the guy with the cane. See if I can find him, and there he is. So I'm just gonna click on it, and when I click on it, it'll allow me to drop him into my scene. And I'll put him right here. And he's a little dark to me for this. I want to change those colors. So that's his cane, I guess that's him. So I'm gonna edit that, and I'm gonna put him on a darker gray, but still much lighter than he was, and then change this one and edit that as well, and put him on a lighter one, and I'm gonna call that a lighter one, and then call that man's cane, and then that'll be the man. Okay, and again, once you have that, I'll just save. And when I put that in there, we instantly have scale, right? So I can see these stones. I mean, I knew the stones were huge, but I can see how big they really are now. So I'll just go here and edit that. So for the first texture, maybe I want to make that. I don't want to make that. But I want to change the size of them, and maybe they're 1 foot instead. It's more appropriate. Maybe they're 2 feet. That's weird. So maybe 1 foot. There we go. Okay, so 1 foot looks like it's going to work for me. That's that. Now we need to handle this stone here. Let me go to that, edit that, and I need to make that 2 feet. It's still very big, so maybe that's 1 foot too. That's still a little big, so maybe I make that like 8. That looks good. Bedding stone looks good. I shrunk that down already, so that looks good to me. This is that stone in here being duplicated through. That looks good to me. I think that's how. And even 8 might be a little bit big. And make it a little bit finer. Maybe make it like 6 inches. Okay, that looks really good. And I like that course. Earth is a little bit big to me, and I don't like the color of it. I'm going to edit that, and I'm going to maybe make it 2 feet instead. That looks good. And I'm going to mess with the color a little bit too. I'm just going to make it darker. Kind of anchor it some. That looks good to me. Okay, I'm gonna kind of save that. And oops, move this over a little bit. Got some nice lines in there. What else? Oh, make sure I'm on the right layer. What is that? This is filter fabric. Okay, so it's gray right now. At least it is kind of popping out, but we could always exaggerate the color so it does stand out a bit. So maybe we do a kind of this brighter yellow so we can actually see it. Okay. And what else? Concrete pieces. Maybe they're a little bit big too. I'm going to edit those and make that like 2 feet. Okay. Rebar texture is so tiny. I'm not really worried about that. I think that looks good. Maybe he comes up a little bit to. Oh, minus King doing that. So that looks good to me. Now we need to put in a tree. Just save that. And maybe instead of making that orange, I'll make this a blue because it's handling water. So maybe they're kind of a bluish color. Easy enough to change. I'll save that. So I had to force quit, and sometimes it does that. This is the nature of SketchUp right now. I'm gonna go back into it. Hopefully 2015 will run a lot smoother. Be able to handle relatively simple models. Another reason why you should be constantly saving. So this thing will do that, and we'll just close this out. Control O. Let me go back to my SketchUp models, and I believe I called that detail 3. And we'll open. Okay, so I'm in presentation right now. What I want to do is go back to working. And the presentation will listen to me, but working is not. Okay, so let me go to my working and just that scene and take off the camera as well. Camera location I don't need. Update. Okay, let me just go here so we can actually see what's going on. Okay. And then I don't need the image, so I don't need visible layers either. Update that. I just really wanted to show me what's going on so I can take off camera location and visible layers. Now I'm going to try to bring in that tree again. I'm going to open and go into SketchUp and then those components and then that awesome tree. And it's on the right layer. I'm going to copy, close it out, and hopefully, let me also turn off some things. I'm going to turn off the, don't know what that is. Oops, that's actually a small aggregate. Sometimes it does that. You have to really be aware of what's going on with your model. Small aggregate. And then hopefully that will just go away. Cancel. Small aggregate. And delete content. Move to current layer. Alright. So everything should be as it should be now. That is cool. Let me also turn off my earth. Just trying to make this thing run a little bit faster. So I'll turn stuff off. I don't need to see rebar. Tree grade I need to see. Root ball I need to see. Permeable pavers I don't need to see. I guess small aggregate I really don't need to see. people. I don't see him on a people layer, so let me make that another number 5 and call him people. Do all and put him on people. Okay, and now we'll make people go away too. Okay, looks alright to me. I'm noticing that all this is not in that component, so I'm just going to cut that and put it in the component so it appears on both sides. Okay, so that's cool. Again, I don't need to see be like that. That's fine. And let's pop thing. I don't need to see structural soil. I don't need to see existing soil or planting soil. Okay, so I'm just trying to simplify this down a little bit, and now I am going to try to drop this thing in. Control V. Oops. Let me open it again. I copied the wrong. Okay. A tree. Open. Get there. Copy. I'm gonna close this out. Don't save. And now I'm gonna Control V. Okay. Hopefully it'll run a little bit smoother this time. Drop it in. Alright, so there it finally is. It's horribly, painfully slow. We need to get better processor. Okay. And then I'm going to align this thing. I'm just going to put it on the Z-axis and kind of drop it in, and I can see where it's kind of not central. So I'm going to go back to that view. Oops. And see if I can't lock it on the right inference. Okay. Just gonna try to eyeball that. So right about there, it looks like. Okay. And let me go back to the view. There. Okay. Alright, so there goes our tree. And what I want to do, so look at that tree. Looks like that should be this color. So I want to fix that. It looks like there's some other ones in here too. Alright, that looks better. For some reason, they got some of the branches were not rendered right. Okay. That's what I want to see. I want to save that. And I'll just start turning things back on. I don't need my image, but everything else can kind of come back on. Alright. So now we kind of have this detail half made. Make sure it's still in the right location. And it's not in the right location, so I'm going to move this tree and put it back where it was supposed to be. And let it shift up. There. All right, 3. Okay. All right, so there it is with colors and just no opacity, and that looks good. It looks clean. Again, if you want to keep the crispness of this tree and that, you know, it looks pretty good right now to me. You would have to go through and just reduce the opacity of each of these. So, for instance, I can go edit, and maybe I make the opacity of this 90. or maybe it's even bigger, maybe it's 85 or something. And as I do that, it just kind of softens it, so when I put text over it, it won't be as prominent. So maybe that's even, you can really get low with these things. So maybe we'll just do 80 for that. And close. Maybe we'll just knock all those down a little bit. And I'll say edit, maybe I'll make that 80. Close, maybe I'll make this, edit that. Maybe I'll make that 80 as well. Close, I'm gonna do bedding stones, edit. And maybe that is 80 as well. And this little guy, maybe that's 80 as well. I'm noticing too that it's kind of putting a and it's gonna work when we actually hide those lines. Double click in here and edit. I want to hide. There you go. So now when I click out, let me see if this works this way. Hiding, let me keep on going. And let me hide that line too. Let me go back to this view. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I just needed to hide those lines. So when I hid the lines, that seam disappears, so I don't have that profile. So you don't need to do all that extra stuff, just hide those lines in that component. So that looks good to me, and now you are ready to bring or set scenes for this thing for layout. Okay, so to do that, we're just going to, like, I like this scene for instance, it's a good one for me. Kind of shows the whole thing. And when I get something that I like, and it's the line work and everything is correct, and you could take a look at modifying the style a little bit, and that you take off the profile. But the profile does help, I think. I mean, it's pretty clean. Parallel projection should be on. It's weird it's doing that. Oh, okay, I just tilted it. So we have that. That was weird. And I'm going to call this entire detail. And oops, god dang it. And I'll update that. And it's actually not the entire detail, so let me do a zoom extents. And when I have that, I'll just update. Okay. Now I'll do another scene where I'm kind of zoomed in to focus on how it's actually being inserted, the important part, how it's being inserted into the ground. So I'll do another, and I'll call it 0, 1, and then zoom in. I'll call it that, whatever, call it what you want. I'm gonna update that. I'm noticing too that there's a seam in here, so I just want to fix that, because that wouldn't be like that. I'm just gonna hide that line. Okay, that's better. Control save, and it did not. Why? I want that to be under select. It should be that. Okay. And then let me just update this. Okay. And that gave us our black and white line work. Need something. Length on 1. I'll put my profiles on 1, and then I'll just update that. And let me just update that. Okay. And I'll make a scene for that. 0, 1, and I'll call it B&W line. B&W line, line work. Okay, and then I'll update that. Camera location does matter on this one. Visible layers do matter on this one. Update. All right. And then if you wanted to do anything else, like if I wanted to get back 3D, so I can go back to, let me actually click here and move it left. So that's my presentation. If I wanted to kind of shift this over and show kind of a 3D view of it as well, in that way. You could. So maybe something like that. And then maybe I want my shadows on as well. So maybe I have something that's kind of going like that. And this is where you can also adjust your shadows. Go here and go into shadow settings, and I can just have them on faces instead of being on the ground. I think it's more appropriate for this. I'm just kind of showing that. And then again, putting this in perspective. And again, I start noticing things here too now, so I double click in here. And just getting rid of those lines. Just hiding them on all those edges. And that should help this thing read better. Okay, that looks better. Kind of saving that. So maybe that's a 3D view that I have. Let me just update that. And maybe that's a 3D scene that I have. I don't know if I'll use that, but if you wanted to, you could. So let's say a 0, 1, and maybe that is just 3D color view. Camera location doesn't matter. Visible layers do matter in this instance. Boom. Update. Alright, so I can kind of go to all these things now. My zoom in, my entire detail, 3D color view, black and white line work should be there as well. Well, that's kind of a cool view. So now we'll just save that. You're ready to go into layout.